Hello, this is Tony Eller from RealClimateScience.com, setting the record straight about history. I wasn't planning on making a video on this topic, but I had an interesting conversation with someone on Twitter this afternoon. The National Rifle Association tweeted, "Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have both voiced support for a government-mandated buyback, code for confiscation of AR-15s and other commonly owned semi-automatic rifles." What could possibly go wrong with trying to confiscate tens of millions of rifles from people who believe that the government is in violation of the Second Amendment? So I tweeted back, "Democrats say the police are trigger-happy, murderous racists, and they also say that only the police should be armed." And I included this poster. I saw a movie once where only the police and military had guns. It was called Schindler's List. The idea being that the German National Socialists were able to commit genocide because the citizenry was disarmed. So someone named Smalley responded to me, "Oh, have you studied Europe at all? There isn't a country in Europe that allows guns, but there are many that the police bear arms. Ever heard of a Euro cop gunning down a person because they walked around with an assault rifle?" Well, I always thought that Germany was in Europe. Perhaps I'm mistaken. So I responded back to Smalley, "I'm a Jew. Europeans killed 6 million of my relatives after confiscating their guns. Europeans have an impressive history of genocide, and normally Americans have to come put an end to it. Perhaps you should study Europe's history." And I included this New York Times article from November 9th, 1938. The Berlin police president, Count Wolf Heinrich von Helldorf, announced that as a result of police activity in the last few weeks, the entire Jewish population of Berlin had been disarmed with the confiscation of 2,569 hand weapons, 1,702 firearms, and 20,000 rounds of ammunition. Note the date of this article, November 9th, 1938. Now let's look at what happened later that day. A major turning point in Nazi policy towards Jews was the coordinated attacks by the SA against Jews and Jewish institutions and businesses throughout Germany and Austria on November 9th and 10th, 1938, the night of the broken glass. So immediately after the German National Socialists disarmed the Jews, they began the Holocaust. Now let's look at the last sentence. Over 900 synagogues and 7,000 Jewish businesses were severely damaged or destroyed. Imagine that. Brown shirts went around and destroyed businesses. Just like what's going on in America right now. But I'll get to that in a minute. Let's go back to discussing Germany in the 1930s. It's not a coincidence that the Holocaust began immediately after the Jews were disarmed. So Smalley responded back, "Your Second Amendment is the right to bear arms signed over 200 years ago when guns were no more than a single bullet. Times have changed, so has weaponry. No sane person has to understand a country to know that it's outdated." The first problem with his argument is that it isn't true. There was a form of machine gun available as early as 1718. But that's just a distraction. The whole point of the Second Amendment was to defend against tyranny. If a tyrannical government has much better weaponry than the citizenry, the balance of power is lost. So why does the government want to ban semi-automatic rifles? Because they know you won't get into the boxcars willingly. This may sound a little extreme. People always believed that it can't happen here, and people certainly believed in Germany that it couldn't happen there either. But it did. Human history is full of genocides, hundreds of millions killed in the last century. Western countries are going through the most tyrannical period in their nation's history right now. Governments have taken away almost every single freedom over a virus which kills one person out of 10,000 around the world. Australia disarmed their citizenry a while back. Let's see how that's working out for them.
She's in Spain. She's in Spain. She said she's in Spain. I need to confirm your identification.
I have my ID.
Well, then where is it?
It's in my mom's car.
You don't have a wallet here?
No, I
Where's
don't
your
have.
mom's car?
It's close by.
No. You need to talk to me, okay? The reason we're arresting your mum and we're going to arrest you is because we can't confirm.
I was walking by.
No.
I was walking by.
Then how come she's told you that you're her daughter?
Yeah, she's my mom. I know.
Okay, if you're serious, you need to talk to me. Where's your ID? Because you're going to be arrested if
It's
I
in my
can't.
mom's car. There.
It's where? Over here. Is it walking distance away?
I don't know, maybe yes.
You need to take this seriously because you won't be arrested if I can confirm your ID. You hear me? You won't be arrested if I can confirm your ID. Tell me how.
I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yes, you are doing something wrong. You're out in contravention of the COVID restrictions, alright?
I'm walking.
Okay, alright.
It's allowed.
I still need to confirm your ID and you're going to be
What
under
for?
arrest.
I'm not breaking the law.
No, I believe you are, so I need to confirm your ID. How am I going to do that? No, you tell me. You're the one being a smart ass about this.
Now let's listen to what the McCloskeys have to say, who defended their home from BLM terrorists with semi-automatic rifles.
Good evening, America. We are Mark and Patty McCloskey. We're speaking to you tonight from St. Louis, Missouri, where just weeks ago you may have seen us defending our home as a mob of protesters descended on our neighborhood.
America is such a great country that not only do you have the right to own a gun and use it to defend yourself, but thousands of Americans will offer you free advice on how to use it. At least that.
Well, I'm going to end it here, but you can see the entire thing. It's about 1340 long at tonyheller.com. But I'm of the opinion and belief that this thing is, the reaction to it is a hoax, an excuse to tyrannize people around the world. Now, who am I? 77 years old. I worked for the health department for a while back in the 60s and 70s. But I also had the Hong Kong flu and the London flu. And the Hong Kong especially was so much worse than this thing. So please do your own research. Don't take my word for it. And wake up and resist, because this is crazy. Thank you so much.